Now, I hadn't actually heard of this movie up until just a couple days ago when my parents were flicking through the channels and we came across this. And we recognized Rafe Spall because he was on Roadies and my parents really liked that show. So I sat down, watched it, took notes, and yeah, here I am. Hi, I'm Tyler, and I'm here to let you know that Get Santa is no perfect movie. So in Get Santa, Santa, played by Jim Broadbent, crashes into the backyard of a man named Steve, played by Rafe Spall, and his son Tommy, played by Kit Connor. And after Santa is arrested, it's up to Steve and Tommy to help Santa escape prison, along with the help of a dwarf inmate named Sally, played by Warwick Davis. This is a strange film for Christopher Smith to write and direct, especially considering every movie he's made before and after this one were all horror movies. And it explains why I thought his direction of this film was pedestrian, even for a Christmas movie. Now, to his credit, when we see the North Pole for the first time, the sets look very practical, they look very nice, and the costumes on the elves all look real. The North Pole has a nice design, but it looks like every other North Pole we've seen in movies like the Santa Claus or the Polar Express. And the scenes are so dimly lit, we can't see the expressions on Steve and Tommy when they're looking amazed and like they're in a different world for the first time after looking at all of this. And Smith, as a writer, never seems to really settle on what kind of audience he's trying to make this movie for. We go back and forth from dirty jokes about Santa coming up with his own identity to try to survive in prison, and yet in the next scene, there's these childish jokes about reindeer who can, I don't know, communicate through their own farts or something like that? I can't remember. All I know for sure is that the comedy was completely desperate and out of balance. Let me just say that the actors give the best performances they can with the writing they're given. Jim Broadbent has such sweet and charismatic line delivery that he makes you genuinely believe that he is the Jolly Saint Nick. And Rafe Spall, if I got that name wrong, I apologize, does his best to play a realistic single father who is willing to do anything he can to reconnect with his son, including driving a magic sleigh for the first time so that he can break Santa out of prison. What other dad can do that? And my favorite part of the movie by far was Warwick Davis, who was hilarious, despite the fact that he is basically Marcus from Bad Santa. Tons of jokes about his height, tons of physical stunts that he has to do for the comedy, stuff like that. But the problem is these characters are cliched as hell and they're not sympathetic. Steve is a generic divorcee who is, of course, jealous of his ex-wife's new husband, who thinks he's crazy, no shock there, and he doesn't spend very much time with his son because his son Tommy is much more mature than him. No real surprise there. And even Santa does some stuff that goes against how jolly he's supposed to be. When he does escape from prison, he doesn't help Sally out in any way whatsoever. And in this big climactic car chase, we see one of the most jolly, most charming people ever take a gun and shoot reindeer shit at a cop's face. Santa Claus, everybody. Now, if you're watching this review and you're thinking, why does this all sound familiar? I got nothing. Seriously, I can go on and on about how many things this movie rips straight out of the Santa Claus. Aside from the story about a man who has to learn how to have the Christmas spirit by going to the North Pole for the first time and reconnecting with his son, there's the fact that Santa gets arrested. Of course, no one believes that he's Saint Nick, and he has to be busted out, otherwise Christmas is cancelled. The fact that the main character's ex-wife has a new husband who thinks he's insane and does everything to try to keep him away from his son. The cheap gross-out jokes involving reindeer. And a completely unrelated fact, there's even a lame ripoff of the prison escape from the Shawshank Redemption, and it just felt like, hey, you remember this from that movie? Yeah, why? Well, we're doing it here, and that's it. There was nothing funny about it. Get Santa has actors who try their best to provide as much charm as they can to this movie, but it doesn't really change the fact that the humor goes back from being risky to safe, and it's really obvious in what other movies that this movie is trying to either pay homage or just rip out of. And for that reason, I'm going to give Get Santa a 2 out of 5. Guys, thanks as always for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, check out my other reviews at NoPerfectMovie.com. And once again, thank you all very much for watching. Take care.